Akash INTI, the real reflection of you. Just finishing up some protein shake over here, post-swim. And, something that's been on my mind really just today has been this idea of, proving myself, or, proving the self, right? And this idea really just came about very recently. I was watching Avatar, The Last Airbender, with my little brother. He's been, going through the whole series, and highly recommend the TV show. I absolutely loved it, and it just played a really, it left an imprint in my own life, to say the least. But this idea of proving oneself, right? It's I remember growing up and just living, right? There was always this feeling that I needed to prove myself. Maybe not always, right? It's not like it was every single moment, okay, you need to prove yourself. No, but there was certain times, that's more precise, that's more accurate, that I felt like I needed to prove myself to others, right? It could have been to a colleague at work in the past. It could have been needing to prove myself to someone who was higher, a higher level than me, a superior within an organization, the feeling to need to prove myself to my family, my parents, my dad, my mom, my brothers even. Just that feeling of I need to prove myself, right? And everything that entails, even the feeling of needing to prove myself to women, right? To show them whatever it may be in that particular moment. Man, it made me realize how much wasted time was spent on that in and of itself. On the need to prove myself. Because I don't need to prove myself, and you don't need to prove yourself. You've done all the proving just by being here in and of itself, And I've always found that, if I really look at it in my own life, the person who, is trying to prove themselves, or, prove something, prove themselves to me, it was why are you trying to prove something to me? Why do you need my validation? Why do you need my take on things in order for you to be however you are, But I've done that myself, I've tried to prove myself countless times. For many different areas, right? Everything from money and that whole thing to relationships and I don't know, check out what my relationship with is with this person, to even just fitness and health. To even spiritual condition, right? Oh, look at me in certain ways. And again, it's just what's really going on? What's the need for all of that? Because truth is, a person who doesn't need to prove themselves, that's the person that has proved themselves, right? It's dude, my living speaks for everything, right? It's I don't need to prove myself for anything, because you just look around and it's all there, So I don't know why this topic came up today. I'm really enjoying the listen. I love the sound of the trees rustling in the wind. It's it's truly one of my favorite sounds, especially for summer. And it's something that I've heard quite a bit throughout the summer. And more so, maybe even just paid attention to more. I'd say that's really what it is. Because it's always there, right? There's so many things that are always there. Breathing, the sun, the moon. I mean, not always, right? There's certain days where it's raining. The way the ants crawl in the kitchen and like invade the honey jar. All these things that are so simple. They're kind of always happening. It's really those simple things that are just so beautiful. You know, more and more I've been working on letting go of things as well, right? Letting go of how someone's going to respond to me, right? Letting go of expectation of like expecting how things will go, whether it be in a positive direction, a negative direction, or whatever direction. And I'm working on it. It's a practice, right? It's not like, it's like, okay, I've let go of everything. Now I'm totally fine now. And it's interesting because it feels like things like flow more in that sense, like when I do it. Even like right just now was like an example of it, right? There was like a sense of like holding my breath for a moment. And then I let it go. Just the level of ease that kind of comes along with that in the body. And the breathing and just everything, you know, even just the outlook, the awareness of everything going on around me becomes a little sharper. The colors a little more vivid, slightly more saturated, if you will. Contrast up just a touch. The awareness of a light breeze and maybe an ant crawling on my skin. Oh, it's actually a spider. But just that awareness, it just increases. So, went many different directions with this one, and yet at the same time, I only went in one direction. Keep up, thrive, stay sexy.